Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for that great introduction. Mike, I just let me echo the fact that I have truly had a chance to enjoy working with you the last couple of years. As you know, in 2018 we had some challenges, and I've said this at least 100 times, that it's because of the great leadership that Mike Cooper provided our chamber during 2018 is why we were able to move forward. And we were able to, under his leadership, be able to recruit such an outstanding and dynamic chamber president and CEO, Jennifer Conway. So Mike, you did yeoman's work, and on behalf of the entire city, especially Broken Arrow City Council, thank you for your efforts. So, all right, let's get started here. It is absolutely incredible to see so many folks here today, really to be a part of what's going on at Broken Arrow. On behalf of the Broken Arrow City Council, and I'm going to ask them to stand up, and myself, I would like to welcome each and every person to this year's State of the City address. So at this time, I'd like to ask the City Council members to stand up to be recognized, and I'll introduce them. We have Council Member Johnny Parks that's with us. We have Council Member Deborah Wimpy, and we have Council Member Christy Gillespie. So let's give them a round of applause. Okay, Scott Udi should be here momentarily. The mayor sends his regrets. He's in Washington, D.C. this week. He is on a board called IBTS, and they have their annual event about this time, and so he sends his regrets. You know, last year when I came before you, I was about 5 weeks removed from right knee replacement, and trying to get done in a timely fashion was one of my goals. Well, it's not one of my goals this year, okay? Seriously, trying to condense down the great things that are happening in our community to a little bit less than an hour is going to be extremely difficult. Extremely difficult because there is so many great things that are happening. Today you're going to hear me talk a lot about the great quality of life that we have in Broken Arrow and how important it is to continue to be a place where people want to raise their family, they want to build a business or open a business, and they just want to be able to have fun. Broken Arrow right now, I can say, I'm very proud to say, is recognized around the state and the region as a quality community that is doing things right. And all you really have to do is look around this room and see that the state of our city is very strong. If you think about the folks that are here, you have folks from the public sector and the private sector, and it's amazing to see everyone come out to support the chamber and to support our community. I'm going to talk a little bit about the success that we've had in 2019 and what's on the horizon a little bit later. Now, Mike introduced a number of folks that are here today. There are a few more that I want to recognize. I did recognize the City Council. You will see the City Council in a little bit on the video that I'm going to be introducing. We have a few other folks that I want to mention. Lisa Smoligo is the lobbyist for the City and Chamber, and I just want to recognize Lisa for the great job that she has done for the City and the Chamber since shortly after I got here, Lisa. So thank you for the great job that you're doing. I also want to mention Dr. Janet Dunlop. I'm going to turn over here because, folks, you just can't believe how amazing it is to work with Dr. Dunlop. I get the privilege to do so on a daily basis. The one thing I like most about Janet, yeah, she's a great superintendent and she has an incredible team, but the one thing I can tell you about Janet that impresses me the most is the fact that she quickly got up to speed and understood the importance of community. She recognizes that the school district is an integral part of the community, and she ingratiated herself very quickly to make sure she knew what was going on in this community, and I want to thank you for that because that's not the way most superintendents do, so thank you very much. So, it's always good to see other mayors from other communities. Tyler Buttram, I want to thank you for being here. I get a chance to work with Tyler periodically, and it's great to see you be here today, sir. You know, if you look around the room, we've talked about the elected officials. Who we haven't talked about is the fact that there's a whole lot of chamber members here today. And if you really think about it, it's the chamber members that help drive this organization and help set the agenda. You know, and what's great is the fact that Jennifer and her team are trying to grow the chamber membership. And I think that's important for many reasons. The most important is the fact that the stronger of a chamber we have, that's a greater voice that the business community has in both Broken Arrow, the county, and the state. And I'm very proud of the fact that I see Jason get up here and introduce new members. every single month. And what's important is the Chamber's working very hard to try to serve the membership, and that's very evident today that one of Jennifer's goals that she talked about in the recruitment was doing everything she can to recruit members to grow the base, but at the same time making sure they're getting value for their membership. And I want to applaud you for your efforts and the efforts of your team, because you're doing a great job, Jennifer. The other thing I want to say about Jennifer is it's really great to have her and her family in the community. She has quickly assimilated. It didn't take her very long, and it's great to have her and your family in the community to see you a part of what's going on. Okay, I like to start off every slide when I give a state of the city address that basically says local government is where leadership and public service matters the most. Over 3 decades of experience, I've learned that city government is where we engage most closely with our citizens. You know, if you think about it, potholes are not Republican or Democrat. You know, fixing or replacing your street signs or widening roads has nothing to do with your politics. It has everything to do with the responsibility that the local officials and myself have to do to serve the members in the community. And I'm very proud to say that we work very hard, whether it's sewer and water, public safety, streets and roads, recreation, transportation, whatever it is, economic development. I'm very proud of the leadership team and the senior staff and all of the employees, and there's well over 800 of them now that work each and every day because they get it. They get that their number one responsibility is to preserve the great quality of life that we have in Broken Arrow. And I'm very proud of all of the efforts each and every day that they do on behalf of the City Council and myself to serve this community. So, what I'd like to do now is like to move on with the presentation. I think everybody here came out today for really one reason, is they're interested in finding out what has happened and what's going to happen in the future. For me, I think it's a little bit more specific in the fact that I think we're all interested how we can help maintain the great quality of life that exists in the city of Broken Arrow. And for me, when you break it all down, if I ask everybody what they thought quality of life meant, we might have some similar ideas, but for me it's really simple. We must always continue to be a safe city. In my opinion, let's give a round of applause to the Chief of Police and our Fire Chief. In my opinion, a great community, it starts and ends with public safety. If you don't take care of your streets, if you don't take care of the things that are going on in the community, it's going to be hard to sustain being a community that has a great quality of life. Secondly, is we have to be a community that entices businesses to make investments and reinvestments in our community. And I'm very proud to say that we work very hard with our partnership with the EDC and the Chamber, as well as our Tourism and Economic Development team, to try to make sure that we create an environment that entices private investment, because without it, you're not going to thrive, because all your jobs cannot be in the public sector. Also want to say is that we have to have a plan for infrastructure, and the voters in 2018 approved $211 million worth of bonds to be sold over the next 10 years to make sure that we widen roads, take care of stormwater management issues, parks and recreation, public safety, and other buildings. A couple other things that we need to have is we have to have great schools. It's one of the main reasons why people want to come to a community. And whether it's Broken Arrow, Union, or Bixby, without question, Broken Arrow's got the best schools in the state of Oklahoma. Without question. I mean, they work very, very hard. I work with the Dr. Dunlop and her team every single day, and what's really cool about her is that, you know, not everything's got to go through her. She was very welcoming and opening up her leadership team to me and my staff, and it's just amazing to be able to see exactly what's going on and how they're trying to think 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years ahead. And you're going to hear what she has to say in the video in a minute about her vision and what she's in the process of implementing. The other thing is, and this is very, very important to me, probably more important to my wife than me, but it's very important, is we make sure that we're a community that's taking care and protecting its environment. If you think about it, we have to take care of Mother Nature. We have to make sure that we're doing the things with stormwater management, recycling, and so forth, to make sure that we're doing those things that attract families, that attract businesses. And I'm proud to say, in Broken Arrow, we have all those ingredients right now. We have all those ingredients, and that's because of the hard work of a lot of people. You know, each year I try to think of a theme for my presentation, and after much thought and consideration, I've decided to change things up a little bit. Normally I come up and I give a talk that has a PowerPoint presentation and I talk a little bit. I'm going to change things up this year because when I stop and think about why we're here today, I just get to be the messenger. I just get to be the person that gets to relate to the chamber membership and to the community all the great things that are happening within our city. And in fact, it's everyone sitting in this room and basically tens of thousands of others that are out there every single day making it happen, that making sure Broken Arrow remains a safe and a great place to live, work, and play. And so this year, what I decided to do is that I'm going to show you a video here in a few minutes, because I think it's important that this year the membership hear from a lot of folks within our community. I would like for you to hear what they believe is the state of our city. And from my perspective, when you see this video, I think that you will believe that we have reconciled what I'm going to share with you after the video with how people believe and perceive how well our community is doing. And that's exciting. It's exciting to have folks that are truly invested in this community, are willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that Broken Arrow continues to be one of the best places to live in Oklahoma and the region. So, the theme for this year's video, which I'm about to show you, is very simple. It's basically why we call Broken Arrow home. Why we call Broken Arrow home. And once again, I think the video accurately captures the state of our city. So, at this time, I'm going to sit down in the nice chair that actually my staff brought up. Okay? And the video is a little bit over 20 minutes, and I just want everybody to put your phones down. We're going to turn the lights down low. I know everybody just had lunch, okay? But I want you to hear what the folks have to say and listen to the themes. I want you to think about how that relates to you. And if you were on this video, and if I didn't pick you, it's not because I don't love you. I can only do so many, okay? And just think about how great of a city we live in, because we do. So without any further ado, you ready, Jen? Okay, let's roll it. Hi, folks. I'm City Manager Michael Spurgeon, and thanks for joining me for the 2019 State of the City Address. You know, this will be the 5th year that I've had the privilege to come before the Broken Arrow Chamber membership to talk about all the great things that are happening within our community and what's on the horizon. Each year that I give this presentation, I always try to come up with a different theme. After much thought and consideration, the theme is very simple. Why do we call Broken Arrow home? You know, there's no question, I think we all could agree, that Broken Arrow right now is experiencing tremendous success across all levels. All you have to do is look around and you can see that there's growth and prosperity all across our community. I think that's amazing that this is happening. If you stop and think about why that's happening, there's many reasons. For me, there's 3 key ingredients. The first and foremost is that we have a high degree of community engagement. Secondly, it's because of the hard work and dedication of our community partners. And finally, we have a private sector that has made and continues to make investments that benefit us economically all across the community. You know, if you stop and think about it, whether it's growing jobs, creating jobs, or actually providing more places to shop local, the private sector has determined that Broken Arrow is a great investment. Speaking of investments, it's also important for the city long-term to have great working relationships with our partners within the community, both in the public sector and the private sector. Without them, we could not be successful. With regard to the private sector, we believe it's our responsibility to create and foster an environment that promotes economic development activity. We do that because we believe that ultimately the most important return on our investment is a better Broken Arrow. This year, I've decided to change things up a little bit and involve some folks from within our community that are out there each and every day working to make sure that Broken Arrow remains a great place to live, work, and play. The folks you're going to see in this video, they're our friends. In some cases, they're our family. They're community leaders, they're civic leaders, and they're people from the private sector. They have many things in common. Most importantly, they have a love and affection for this community. Also in the video, you're going to get to see the mayor and city council member and hear what they're excited about regarding Broken Arrow's future and why they love and call Broken Arrow home. When the video finishes, I'll wrap up the State of the City presentation. So, without any further ado, Here is the 2019 State of Our City video. Enjoy.
Broken Arrow's hitting some home runs. That's what Broken Arrow's doing. I mean, we use Broken Arrow as a shining star example. The growth that is happening in Broken Arrow, really pioneers here in Broken Arrow. The fact that you're really growing your home base, you're keeping your homegrown talent in Broken Arrow, which is creating just a world-class city. And so Broken Arrow really is on the rise, and certainly I use Broken Arrow in my speeches when I'm talking to cities around the state and when I'm going around the country. I use Broken Arrow as an example of how to do it right when building a city.
One of the things that's always impressed me about Broken Arrow is the energy of the people that are in charge. Our city has a lot of cooperation that other cities don't between the city, the chamber, the school district. They all work together and they're all on the same page and they all want to move the ball the same direction. Broken Arrow is always aimed very high considering the size and some of the things that it has reached for, but we have seen some success now with the Rose District and with the north side of Broken Arrow developing so well. I think that's going to continue and we're going to it doesn't matter how big the goal is or how crazy it sounds, it's just going to get done. I'm proud of our school district. I'm proud of the quality of student that they turn out. I'm proud that we took a main street that was desolate not too long ago and turned it into some place that's exciting and fun to be and was packed last night. The sidewalks you couldn't even get down, there were so many people. We're creating a place where people want to go out and spend time in. I love Broken Arrow because of its people, because of its leadership, because of the heart that it has.
I love the people here. You know, having grown up here and just kind of seen the changes over time, one of the things that's always been just really great about Broken Arrow is its people. My wife is not from here. She grew up in St. Louis. So it's kind of been interesting to watch an outsider come in and see her perspective of just a different kind of people. And to just see a group of people who take such good care of each other and who really are loving towards each other has really been something to me that I think I've seen and remember all the time from since I grew up to even becoming an adult, that just the people of Broken Arrow seem to be what really makes Broken Arrow. As churches, we're limited in the amount of change we can make because we're limited in who we are. But in the same sense, we know the city is as well. But when we partner together, it gives an opportunity to create change that we couldn't do by ourselves.
Well, I moved here in 1994 when I was hired. It's one of those places where not only can you work, but you can live here. I raised both my kids here. The type of living, the school district, the career opportunities, they're second to none in Oklahoma. So it's a great place to be. You know, Broken Arrow was, in '94, was about 72,000 people when I moved here, and now we're well over 100,000 people. And one thing that I like about Broken Arrow is it's never lost that small town feel, but now we have big town amenities. And so it's a great place to live.
One of the draws or the appeals that I was really just in love with the home that we currently live in on Commercial Street was just the neighborhood and just the history and the families and just kind of that small town feel that it offered.
People are outside, kids are playing, you know your neighbors, and I feel like that's what we have. And I don't know, I mean, when people say, what do you love most? It's just community.
Downtown is, you get home and you're waving to your neighbors because they're out and about and the kids are out playing, riding bikes or playing ball. It's just it's kind of the way that things used to be. When a business is started in Broken Arrow, the people of Broken Arrow want to support you. Exactly. They want to get alongside of you. They want to, just, get down in the trenches with you. What can we do to help? How can we, spread the word? How can we, drive business through those doors?
I believe that the downtown area is what makes Broken Arrow a great place to live. We love Broken Arrow. Go Tigers!
I've been involved with Broken Arrow girls softball for right at 30 years. It was when my daughter was 5, I got one of those phone calls that says, you need to be a coach or you're not going to have a team. And so I got talked into coaching, and I ended up coaching her till 18 and under. And then she went on to play at the University of Tulsa. So it's good to see everybody just hang out at the ballpark and have a good time. That's very important. And now we're seeing people that my daughter played with, their kids are now playing at the ballpark. So it's kind of like a reunion of the parents from when our kids played, now the grandkids are playing. And that's always fun to see. Yeah, I think I will live in Broken Arrow. I can't see moving at all. I do enjoy the community and just love it here.
Position of excellence in education is the top priority. There are all types of education, advanced education opportunities for people here, plus the entertainment. The value of having higher education in a community really is not always realized by the people who live here. Young adults have continued to move here. Their desires have also impacted the change in downtown, the Rose District, and the willingness of the city leadership to make that change will have long-range impact because young people, young adults will still move here, and they'll be the movers and shakers in the days ahead. I love Broken Arrow because it is a community that has great emphasis on religion, on the churches, and on the fine arts, and on the business and industry. And all of that's very critical. It's a great place to bring up a family.
As I travel around for my job, I really feel like Broken Arrow has there's something unique that we have that other people and other communities are trying to recreate. And sometimes you can't recreate something that's that unique. So when I think of all the progress that we're making and but yet all the history that we have, that we've done a really good job at preserving in BA. And you know, we're so blessed to have a safe city. We are so blessed to have an amazing police department and fire department, and just the way that we work together and that we appreciate not just the people that serve us in fire and police, but also our city in general, all the employees that we have. It just makes me really proud. You know, no matter what happens, I know this video, when this comes out, will be after the playoffs and so whatever happens, we still love our Tigers, and we still, I love Broken Arrow. It's a great place to be all the time.
One of the great things about Broken Arrow is I think that we're a community that truly tries to support our small businesses. There's a lot of opportunity for small businesses to succeed here. So I think there is a big drive to be supportive of Broken Arrow small businesses, both from a chamber level, the city, as well as the community supporting them. We will retire in Broken Arrow, and my plan is to enjoy being part of my community and giving back, and we will always be based in Broken Arrow. The Chamber does a phenomenal job of trying to support the small businesses, and they're just getting better and better at it. Our crime is obviously ridiculously low, and it's a very safe place to live. So there's really nothing about being from Broken Arrow that doesn't fill me with pride. I love Broken Arrow because black and gold look really good on me. I choose to stay in Broken Arrow because I believe it's the best place to raise my kids, and I think they have an amazing opportunity to exceed any life expectations they have.
I love living in Broken Arrow, and the reason I call it home is just a wonderful place to be. It's amazing. The citizens are amazing. There's the quality of life. I feel very safe here. It's a community where you can feel very safe. We're really a mid-sized city with a small town attitude, and that really makes it, people are so friendly here. That's one thing that sets us apart from other communities around the country, is we're just so friendly. And that's why I like being in Broken Arrow. Well, I think we're doing a lot for tourism. We've got an apartment now. They work on that. We see people come all the time. I go down to Lauren Bakery here on Saturdays quite often, and I run into people quite often from Midtown that say they come all the way from Midtown, Tulsa, to buy stuff in the Rose District, and they go to Lauren Bakery, or they go to other places in the Rose District. So we are bringing people from other destinations to our community. What we've done with Stony Creek and how they're booked almost constantly with conferences, and I have the opportunity to get to welcome people to our community. It's just amazing, the tourism, and people love to be in Broken Arrow. I've had people stop me on the street and say things are really going well. The citizens are excited about the things that we're doing.
Broken Arrow has been moving forward with growth and providing those ongoing opportunities for people to be successful and to raise a family. So that's why I stayed. Broken Arrow is a fast-growing city. However, it's safe. It's a safe place to live, work, and raise a family. So those three things and is what I needed. It provided stability. So then the commitment of the community leaders and of the community of Broken Arrow is what has, in my opinion, continued to move Broken Arrow forward. Our community leaders, with the backing and with the support of the community, are committed. The commitment is there to make Oklahoma a top 10 state and Broken Arrow a destination city. So by providing safety, the events, the school system, and then moving Broken Arrow forward, those are the type of things that make Broken Arrow what it is.
You know, Broken Arrow, and over the years, has gotten much bigger population-wise, but it's still a small town. You know, so many family-owned businesses, so many places you can walk in and they know your name. It's home, and it's always going to be home. When I was given the opportunity to be the head coach here, right, I told everybody in the interview committee that if I had, whatever it took, if I had to work 364 days a year, my only goal was to make everybody in Broken Arrow proud of their football team. The football team is a big piece of the puzzle of the city, right, when you put them all together. And we take pride in that. We talk about it with our kids because that's a difficult concept for a 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old young man to realize, you know, yeah, we're playing a sport, we get to go play a game on Friday, but really, people in the town know who you are and are interested in how you're doing, care about you and care about how you're doing as a football team. And so the word family is thrown around by a lot of, you know, college and NFL teams, but in high school, that's really what it is.
It's hard to explain when people want to know, you know, what's so great about Broken Arrow. It's hard to explain that. You have to feel it because it truly is a feeling. It's you know, I grew up in a small town, and I love that we've kept that small town feel here, but there's still so much to do and so many opportunities, and it's growing and it's dynamic, and that makes it fun. Over the last 10 years, it's interesting because I really think that we've been experiencing this great change in Broken Arrow. And change is sometimes scary, and it's not always great, but for us, it has been. When you have growth the way we do, you have to do something differently. You can't continue to operate like you're a small little town. We've partnered with NSU this last year and opened up our early college high school. And in early college high school, 9th graders are going to campus all day long, and they're college students. So 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade year, they are on the NSU campus taking college credit courses. So you show me a community that you can provide college education to kids at that price or free. Young families and older families know that they can come here and have affordable housing. They're safe, they have an amazing education, and they also know that we're going to continue to prosper and grow because of the work that our city and our chamber and schools do together.
My favorite part about Broken Arrow is how many people actually come back after. They may move off for a career or so, or maybe they move off, get married, but they bring their families back here because it's, because it's home. And it feels, even though we're a pretty big city, but it still feels like it's very much a small town, which I think is my favorite thing about being in Broken Arrow. Like, no matter where I go, I'm running into someone, and a lot of times it's people I grew up with, which is really neat to be able to do on a daily basis. 100%. An additional reason why Broken Arrow is a fantastic place to live and work, if you'd actually work here as well, is the people in Broken Arrow. The passion that the people in Broken Arrow have for their community and how they want to make Broken Arrow the best it possibly can be. That's from our public safety employees, our firemen and our police department that live here, and how they want to make sure that this is the best place and the safest community possible, to just the common citizen that's here that cares so much about making sure that Broken Arrow is the very best city, and that's one of the most amazing things to me.
When you drive around Broken Arrow, you see a community that's invested in itself, and people are moving there because we take care of our streets and take care of our fire, and we're a safe place to live, and that draws families. And when you automatically move into a community that has several kids on the street, and those kids are going to school with your kids, and they're riding the bus with your kids, it's interesting because that's being lost in a lot of communities across the United States. As you move to more of an urban population, people are disconnecting. And so Broken Arrow is able to really couple that together and still keep that small town family suburban feel, but offer the amenities of feeling like a downtown urban area. It struck me last night when they turned the lights on at Lights On downtown. It was like a Hallmark Channel movie. And it was everything that you think it should be, but it actually was that, right? So when you watch that Hallmark movie, you know that really doesn't happen anywhere. Well, it really did happen. I think all we were missing was maybe some magical snowflakes that fell from the sky.
I like to call Broken Arrow my home because for me it's the perfect place. It's safe, you have everything around the corner, you have a lot of stores, shopping centers, restaurants, you can walk anywhere, and it's so safe, it's so clean, the people is so nice, everybody's nice. The city people are unbelievable, so kind to you when you come to either pay your water bill, they smile at you, they treat you like you are a celebrity. So I'm so glad that this is the place that I choose to live with and my family, and I can choose a better place to live.
I absolutely enjoy the sense of community that we have here. We could really feel it with the Lights On ceremony last week. Just as so many people up and down the Rose District interacting, and just feels like a big family every day in the Rose District, getting to see so many people and interact with the citizens in the chamber. I really love how all of our major entities work so closely together to see the community advance. In 2020, the fire department's going to be able to hire additional firefighters as well, keeping up with attrition. We're also going to be replacing some fire apparatus, but we're really excited about breaking ground on 2 new fire stations this spring. I'm truly honored to be a part of the Broken Arrow community. The things that are happening here, the energy, the vibrance of our downtown area, we really enjoy the partnerships that we have with the Chamber of Commerce and the school system. And as the fire department, we're glad to contribute to the public safety here in the community through preventative efforts like our CPR training, and also through our code enforcement, and making sure that we're helping the community develop through all kinds of missions of the department.
I've lived in Broken Arrow all my life, and I love living here because it's still a community. It's an area where people know each other and care about each other, where everybody's still involved. A lot of people are involved with all of the activities, as you can see from our history. Because you're involved with everybody in the community, they know how to get in touch with you. You know a lot what's going on, and as many years as I've served on the city council, you know a little bit about all areas of the city. I've watched it grow, and I like to be a part of that. And also, it's the community that I raised my kids in, and my wife and I have worked in this area. I own my own business here for 30 years in Broken Arrow. So you just feel like it's a part, and you want to continue seeing the successes. I think one thing that makes it exciting is we have an energetic city manager, and he is really a go-getter. And just like the city staff around him, I can see a change. They're very strong in supporting him. The council is the same. So you've got a council that's very strong and working and attending lots of meetings, looking at different changes. And I just think it continues to be one of the greatest communities, certainly in the state of Oklahoma. And we want to continue setting the standard for the rest of the cities.
Had the opportunity to come work for the city a couple years ago and jumped at it, and it's just an amazing place. It's really magical what we've got here. You know, it's a place that makes people feel warm and inviting, but yet fiercely independent, because, you know, Broken Arrow is about Broken Arrow and not about being just another community. Well, being the community development director for the city, it's one of those things that you get to be a part of. You know, previous staff members had helped make it become an amazing city through the downtown master plan. And now seeing that plan come to life is just one of the most amazing features of Broken Arrow. Citizens supporting it, having the TIF district, and all those things have really turned out an amazing job. I all the time hear from other communities wanting to know how Broken Arrow made it happen and how we do it. And it's just rewarding enough to be able to respond back to them to say, this is how we do it because our citizens support it. And then they continue to support it every day by shopping and being a part of the environment. 2020 is going to be another amazing year with new development and new exciting ideas coming out of our department. We expect that Broken Arrow is just going to continue to grow forwards and upwards, on and on. Broken Arrow, just an amazing city.
When I think of home, I don't think of a place, I think of a feeling. So Broken Arrow is, already emotional about it. Broken Arrow is a deep-seated feeling. It's not about the location where you're at, it's where you feel good, where you're comfortable raising a family, where you're comfortable being in the community and being a part of it. When I think about home being Broken Arrow, I think about not only living in a place that I love, that has great opportunity for my family and my citizens, but also working in a community that you can devote yourself to and feel proud of. Living in a safe community is of the utmost importance to my family. And not only is it where I work and what I've devoted half of my life to, it's something that's important because my girls are in this community as well. Sending them to go to a shop, I don't worry about them. Sending them for gas or to the grocery store, knowing the safety of our community there makes me feel comfortable as a parent to let them spread their wings and grow.
Broken Arrow is one of those communities where there truly is a church on every corner. You feel at home just by walking in into the city almost. They have a charming main street, made more so in the last few years. And there was just great schools, great energy. Broken Arrow is a very business-friendly community. We really try to make it as easy as possible to do business here. If we really want business to be successful for you, because when it's successful for you, it's successful for us. Whether that be a retail business and that brings in sales tax, or a service business that supports those retail businesses, or manufacturing plant or some other high-tech facility that brings in the jobs that support the retail and the service businesses. I'm excited for what the new year brings, and frankly the new decade brings, because we are growing in all the right places and in all the right ways, and we are queuing ourselves up to have a tremendously strong city for the next 10, 20, 30 years to come.
Hey, it's great to be with you today, and I just want to give a big shout out to Broken Arrow and the leadership they have over there, especially Mayor Craig Thurman. What the City Council has done is in support of a lot of the directions is great. What they've done for public safety, both the fire and the police, what they've done for downtown renovations of the Rose District is incredible. Bringing high-paying jobs to the industrial park in Broken Arrow, it's just phenomenal to see what's going on. It's great to have Broken Arrow in my district. I really appreciate the people of Broken Arrow and what they mean, what it looks like to them to have a community so great. And I wish all of you great luck, and thanks for being part of the district. I really appreciate it.
I have lived in Broken Arrow for 43 years. It is just an awesome community, and if you're involved, you meet a lot of great people, some old, some young, and we all are here for Broken Arrow. That type of community spirit that I think it's very hard to find, and once you find it, you don't want to leave. Of course, I am a Broken Arrow Pride junkie. I love the band, and I go all the time. It's just one of those bands that it's like the best commercial our Broken Arrow community could have. They have marched twice in the Rose Parade. They have been to Washington, D.C., and every time they would go when I was on the school board, you'd get comments how professional they are, how well behaved they are. So just that type of commitment in Broken Arrow is what I think we have. Broken Arrow is home. If you want to feel comfortable, if you want to feel safe, if you want your children to have a great education and be involved around great people, Broken Arrow is your city.
You know, I could have stood up here and told all of you that, but I thought it would be better if we let the people from within our community basically say exactly why they felt like Broken Arrow is home to them and why they love this community. You know, it's hard not to get a little emotional and sentimental when you hear the heartfelt emotion that the folks on the video shared with you about how they feel about this community. And having served in other communities in different parts of the country, I can tell you that not every community shares the same values that we do here in Broken Arrow. And so for me, it was much easier to let the folks that spoke speak from the heart about how they feel about this community. You know, I want to thank Retrospect Films for stepping in and helping with the video. I also would like to thank all of the folks that participated in the filming of the video, and finally to Jennifer Sweezy and Cricket Moore for all their hard work in helping put the logistics and the operations together for the presentation day. So let's give all those folks a round of applause. Okay, listen, I'm running good on time, and so I'm going to quickly go through this. So really the question everybody has is, how's Broken Arrow doing? So let's find out. What I'm going to do to finish up the presentation is I'm going to quickly touch on 3 areas: the fiscal state of the city, touch on what's happened this year, and I'm outlining what's ahead for 2020. I can tell you right now, folks, that the present state of our economy is very strong, and let me give you some examples. Our population has increased approximately 15% since the 2010 census. The average household income right now is just above $70,000. We have 320 manufacturers that call Broken Arrow home, and we continue to be the 3rd largest manufacturing city in the state of Oklahoma. We are one of the safest cities in Oklahoma, as well as one of the safest cities in America, thanks to the efforts and leadership of Chief Berryhill and Chief Moore. I'm extremely proud of the efforts that they put forth every single day to make sure that Broken Arrow continues to be a place that people feel safe in. Without question, we continue to have the best public school system in the state, hands down, folks. And finally, I'm very proud to say that this year we will issue a record 530 new single-family residential building permits, which shows that folks want to be here, that we are a city that people are coming to and not going from. That's a record. 530 residential permits, well over 20 commercial permits, which means people are making an investment or reinvestment in our city. And I want to send a shout out to Larry Curtis and his team. They're doing a great job. I was very pleased to have the opportunity to put Larry in the leadership position this summer, and I just can't wait to see what Larry and his team is going to accomplish. The city's budget this year is just over $307 million. That's right, we have a $307 million budget. Financially, Moody's has determined that we are a very good investment. We have a AA3, which is considered very stable. That's very important because we're issuing anywhere from $12 to $35 million worth of bonds every year. And the stable rating that we have makes sure that we get a great interest rate for all the taxpayers whenever we're actually repaying those bonds. So I'm very pleased with the finance department and the job that they do to make sure that we stay in compliance, to make sure we get the best rating possible. I'm also very pleased to say that the council has set directives on making sure that we have reserve funds available in both our general fund and our utilities, because in Oklahoma, we know that there are things that can happen which could cause an interruption or a disruption in business and community. And so we are in compliance with the council's request to have a reserve policy of 15%, as well as 90 days of reserves and utilities, and that was something they were very adamant on. I'm very proud to say that we're in compliance with those expectations. Through the first 6 months of the year, our collections for sales tax are nearly equal to our projections. Use tax collections are above projections because more people are shopping online, and operational expenses, because of the great work of the directors, continually just below the budget. Now, as far as this year, I want to mention that last October we put out our financial report. I would encourage everyone, if you haven't received a copy or haven't looked at a copy of our financial report, to take a look at it. It's chock full of information about what's going on in our communities. From folks that always question, how do we compare utility rate-wise with other cities? What projects are we working on? What's happening in the community? This document will tell you everything you need to know. So I encourage everyone to take a look at it. One of the things I am extremely proud of this year is the fact that we were able to update our comprehensive and our parks master plans. It took well over a year and the involvement of several hundred citizens who provided input to make sure that the City Council had great direction when we adopted these two very important documents, because they're going to be guiding us for the next 20 to 25 years on how we develop our community. I'm also proud to say that right now, under the leadership of Assistant City Manager Kenny Schwab, who does an amazing job for the Operations Division, his team is in the process of implementing a very aggressive city and utility capital improvement program. Kenny's team right now has almost $117 million worth of projects that are somewhere in the project life cycle. $117 million. It's absolutely amazing. And a lot of people don't think about what goes into actually trying to manage a project from the time that you think about it till you actually cut the ribbon. There's a whole lot that goes on, and I'm very proud of Kenny's efforts and the efforts of the engineering and construction team. Also, Rocky Hinkle, our street and stormwater director, is doing a great job. I mean, he's spending that money that we get from the sales tax that the voters passed a couple of years as fast as it's coming in. I'm just very excited about the job that Rocky is doing. I'm also very excited to say that earlier this year, the City Council created our second TIF district. It's called Creek 51 Business Park. The first thing I want to say is I want to thank the various taxing entities, because anytime you create a TIF district, it doesn't really happen if you don't have the support of those people that you're asking to give up a portion of their increment for a period of time. And I especially want to recognize Dr. Dunlop and her team, because they are the biggest recipient of property taxes, and it's really great to see her understand the vision of how you take a bean field that's generating about $200 a year in property taxes that has the potential to throw off a couple of million in 10 to 15 years, and all the other taxing entities that actually were willing to do that as well. The new business park, which I know that Darla Heller and Norm are working very hard, we're trying to bring more high-paying jobs to our community. In addition to that, you put more high-paying jobs in our community, it helps the retail, commercial, and restaurants, because it creates that additional daytime traffic that Broken Arrow desperately needs to support those people that have made those investments. Something else I'm very excited about is the fact that the City Council is committed to looking at revitalizing the corridor we know as Elm Place and New Orleans. I mean, that's a 1980s shopping area that has some potential for redevelopment. And as a result, they created an advisory committee made up of citizens who have an interest in that area. Most of those people live in that part of the community, to go and look to see what we can do as a city to work with the private sector to reinvest in that area over the next 10 years. So I'm very proud of the council's leadership to say, hey, look, we've got to figure out how to do this, because we want all areas of this community to thrive. Last August, we had a great event. It was called Rumble in the Rose District. This was a worldwide opportunity for the city to showcase the Rose District. Brent Brassfield, one of our new members of the TED team, mentioned to me that we probably could get this event, and I turned it over to Norm Stevens, and his team worked very closely. It was so successful, folks, that Showtime has said that they would like to do a second event sometime in 2020. I know Norm and his team are not really excited about there, and they're cringing a little bit because there's a lot of work. But I can tell you is that the amount of exposure that we got as a community, and the sales tax it generated for the businesses, and the small investment that we made was well worth it. And so we'll be working with Showtime to hopefully bring another Rumble in the Rose District sometime, and I'm certainly hope the weather will cooperate and we can have it outside. So I could go on to all the some other great things that have happened, but being respectful of everybody's time, let me talk about what's on the horizon for 2020. For me, my number one focus really is always going to be try to focus on servant leadership and creating a leadership team and a city staff with the help of our HR director, our amazing HR director, Jeanette McCormick, to have servant leaders that understand why we're here. And that is to figure out how to serve this public so we maintain the high quality of life that we have. I don't accept anything less. And my directors will tell you that that's exactly what I expect of them. And you know what? They do yeoman's work. And they push their staffs, because I think Broken Arrow expects their government to respond. We're not a community that hangs on everything that goes on every other Tuesday night with the council. We're a community made up of folks that just whenever something happens, they want it taken care of. They want their water to be clean. They want their toilets to flush. They want their police and fire to show up. They want their parks to work correctly, the swings to not have problems with them. Whatever it is, they expect us to take care of it. I'm proud of the directors in the job that they do, and that will always be number one focus, because we are a growing community. We're not going to stop growing, folks. 530 permits, so we have to have a leadership team that understands that. Probably the biggest substantive change that we're all going to experience if you live here in 2020 is the fact that we're going to be implementing our solid waste and recycling initiative. Next year, the city will transition away from the bags for disposal, as we will provide a cart for trash and a cart for recycling. We completed pilot programs this year where there were tremendous positive results about going to the cart system as well as implementing curbside collection for recycling. Now that's going to be a huge change. It's going to be a huge change, substantive change for the way we dispose of our trash and the way that we collect trash. Russell Gale, our Assistant City Manager of Administration, and Lee Zirk have been working very diligently on my behalf, putting together an operations plan that we will present to the City Council / Special Utility Authority sometime in late January or early February that explains actually how we're going to do this, and I'm very excited about the opportunity to actually implement this program. One of the things we will continue to do is maintain a high focus on economic development administration. That is something that is extremely important. As I look in front of me, we have our EDC board, many members of our EDC board, plus we have Dr. Tiger, who's over here. They're basically in a position to help the city make decisions about bringing business and industry here and helping those that are already here make reinvestments. That team is led by Vice President of Economic Development, Darla Heller. Couldn't be more pleased to have her in that position, working alongside with Norm Stevens. I can tell you folks, they work every single day trying to bring more business to this community and to help those that are here figure out a way to expand if that's what they choose to do. Our partnership with the city and the chamber to do economic development, it's the best model there is. And I can tell you is that we work very closely together to try to create an environment that entices private investment. We also have a tourism and economic development team that's focusing on the Rose District as well as small business retention. And we're trying to figure out the right way to work together to make sure that we have cover the full spectrum of providing the businesses that have made investments to help them when they need our help. A few other things that are happening is Milestone's going to open up. The Milestone project is going to open up sometime in the early summer. That's going to be 30,000 additional square feet of commercial and retail and 90 plus additional apartments, which is going to create something that Ted Cundiff always says: we need more daytime traffic. And so when you put 90 additional folks, families down here, that's going to be good for those businesses. It's going to be additional businesses. And what it's really going to do, if you think about this, you close your eyes, this time next year, Christmas Traditions is not just going to be down at the Rose District Plaza, it's going to run all the way north up to Milestone. So as a result of that, Lori Hill and Kayla Comer are going to be look to expand our Christmas Tradition programs because we're not going to leave anybody out. So it was difficult to move around here when we actually turned the lights on November 14th, and it was absolutely amazing, and it was Hallmark-esque, as Jennifer said. And you know what? We want everyone to experience that next year. Also downtown, the old Presbyterian Church is going to be renovated, and we're very excited about the fact that it's going to bring additional restaurant as well as additional office space, which is more traffic that will have daytime day trippers, folks that are working down here. They're going to support the businesses that we need. Jason Scarpa's made those investments. Clint's made those investments. We need to support those people, and we need more people downtown to be able to do that. I'll tell you something I'm really excited about that's going to happen next year is we're going to begin construction on our new Creative Arts, our Center for the Creative Arts, partnering with AVB Bank, Kelly Rash and her team, who is donating the land at the corner of South Main and Dallas. The city will make an investment of about $4 million to build phase 1 of our art center. And what's really cool about this is just as we finish up Milestone and we open it up and people start moving there, we should be breaking ground later this year for the art center. So it's another way to transition to keep the momentum that we have in the Rose District to continue to bring people down here to support those businesses. A few more things that we're going to be working on. Our Innovation District. I'm so happy. I mean, with the fact that one of the first things Jennifer and I talked about was the Innovation District, and her and Darla have basically taken that off my plate because that's what they do. and that Ted Cundiff and Rob Whitlock suggested that we create a subcommittee of the EDC, and so now we have a subcommittee of the EDC that's working specifically. The city has retained a consultant and a sub-consultant that's looking at the industries that are emerging that have the high-paying jobs, and also we're also looking at where we could locate our innovation district. The voters committed $9 million last year to help build the infrastructure because they see the vision of having opportunities to stay here, to work here. And we're going to do that. It's something that's going to happen over the next decade. We're going to create an innovation district. Don't know where it's going to be, but it's going to be something that people are going to want to come to and be a part of. The last thing I want to mention before I talk about a couple of challenges is we're going to be implementing our Back to BA shopping initiative. Okay, we are one of the last states in the United States that is heavily dependent upon sales tax to pay for city services. And I think sometimes people forget, and they need to be gently reminded that it's important to shop local. Now, I understand not everybody's going to spend all their money in Broken Arrow. The goal is to remind people when you have those opportunities to shop local to please do so, because every single person in this room is a stakeholder. Every person in this room benefits from the sales tax that's generated in this community, and they just need to be reminded every now and then that when you're shopping local, you're paying for it. As the mayor said, you know what? If you need the police and fire, Amazon's not coming. Okay? They're not coming. Okay? Broken Arrow Police and Fire are coming. And they get paid for with sales tax. So, you know, respectfully, I know some people say some places are closer to where I live, so it might be easier. Those cities, police and fire ain't coming either. Okay? And so I believe it's worth it a little bit to go out of your way to support these businesses because we are stakeholders. Like I said, I know no one's going to spend all their money in Broken Arrow, but if we can remind people through a very positive campaign of how it comes back to them in tenfold, I think that it'll pay dividends to us in the coming year when we do this initiative. You know, we do have challenges. And one of those challenges is the fact that we're so dependent on sales tax, and there is a competitive disadvantage to our brick and mortar businesses because of the fact that shopping online is real convenient. Now, I will tell you this, that if you can't get it in BA, go ahead and shop online because I get the sales tax. Okay, and so if you can't find it brick and mortar, it's okay because we get that sales tax back, but I would refer everybody to shop local because those folks online haven't made those in some cases, multi-million-dollar investments, which they need to be able to make their mortgage payment and meet their payroll. And so I think it's important that we try to create a more level playing field. So working with the state legislature, we will continue to try to come up with a model that brings additional revenue in. The other thing that I want to make sure we work on, and I think this could happen next year, there's been a lot of talk the next couple of years about the creation of public safety districts. Now I can tell you the biggest expense in the city's budget is police and fire. And in a few years I'm going to need additional revenue to continue to maintain that high level of expectation. You know, there's opportunities we may need additional police and fire as we continue to grow. And when you think about police and fire, it's just not guys and gals that carry guns. Okay, or firefighters that ride on the back of trucks or ambulances. It's dispatchers like Lisa Smith, who you saw in the video earlier. Okay, it's about animal control. And we have to think about all things because it's there. We see our officers and our firefighters on the front end, but there's so much that happens on the back end that we have. If we're going to be a quality community, we have to take care of the back end. Because I promise you, if we don't take care of the back end, we'll be pulling police officers off the street to fill those positions. And so the public safety districts could create an opportunity, and that's something that the state legislature, according to the Speaker of the House, said they're going to take up next year. And hopefully if they pass that, the governor will sign it, and then each community in the state of Oklahoma would be able to consider the creation of the district. And I'm not going to shy away from any problems. The city's not very good at building walls, okay? I'm kind of embarrassed, quite frankly. But you know what? It's my responsibility to fix them. And I can assure you is that we've had some problems with the walls. We just fired a contractor because he didn't build it correctly. And Kenny Schwab basically is going to call the bonds if this contractor doesn't perform, and we're actually going to get this done. So we're going to become better at building walls, but we're going to fix the two that we need to address right now. And I can tell you one of the biggest challenges that we have relates to being able to manage the expectations of a community our size. I mean, we're growing every year, folks, and we got to make sure that we manage those expectations, and I think we do a real good job of it. And one of the reasons why I spend so much time communicating and being transparent is because if people don't know, they form opinions that are not right. They're not correct. And the more information I provide, the better off I feel that I've given folks an opportunity to know what's going on in Broken Arrow. And that's why I spend so much time and so much effort on communication, because I want people to hear what the city has to say, what the real skinny is about what's going on, not what's going on at the coffee shop. And so it's extremely important that we continue to try to manage those expectations. So let me wrap this up, and I'm going to read this because it means a lot to me. In closing, let me reiterate that the current state of our city is strong. Notwithstanding, we have to work very hard to protect what we've created in Broken Arrow. Hopefully all of you feel as excited about our future as I know the Chamber feels, the school district feels, and the City Council and I feel about where we're going. To maintain this great quality of life, it's going to take vision, courage, and tenacity to keep our community moving forward. We're not always going to agree. But in great communities, we take that debate, and from that we develop great public policy, and that's what we've done in Broken Arrow, is take those fierce debates and turn them into some great improvements, to some great policies, and I'm very proud of that. Once again, this includes making sure that we have a high degree of transparency so you know what's going on at City Hall and around the community. Fortunately, we have a community leadership team that's made up of the city, of the Chamber, and the school district. And each one of us are committed to work today to determine what kind of city we want to have tomorrow. And I'm very proud and privileged to be a part of that team. And finally, I want to ensure the Chamber membership that the City Council staff and I will continue to work with all of our public and private sector partners to preserve and improve upon the quality of life that we have in this community. I'd like to thank everybody for attending. I look forward to working with you in 2020. I hope everyone has a wonderful and prosperous new year. And lastly, may God bless our country, state, and the great city of Broken Arrow. Thank you.